Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing another video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and that is the subject of psychological behavioral modification. It's a big subject, and I don't hold any degrees, but I do have experience. I took psychology, introductory psychology in school, and for what it's worth, my mother was a school psychologist, so I do know something about it. And I want to talk about common misconceptions regarding behavior modification. What do I mean by behavior modification? For example, quitting smoking is a behavior modification. It's just one example of many possible situations where a behavior might be undesirable. And in the case of quitting smoking, it might be convenient to partake of subliminal suggestions, hypnosis. There's a lot of different techniques people try to quit smoking, but they're what we call artificial stimulus. Artificial stimulus is introducing stimulus, things that affect you, that provoke you in some way, as a means of obtaining a reaction to it. And most forms of modern psychology rely on either pairing of ideas or leveraging stimulus response effects. So here's the problem. I don't want this to be a long, in-depth dive into psychology, but the problem is that suggestions and pairing of ideas and also the artificial stimulus that triggers some kind of reflex or instinct to do something only works if you're not aware of it, typically. I'll say that again. It only works if you're not aware of it. Many of these techniques, not all of them, some of them work regardless, but a lot of behavior modification techniques only work if you're not aware of what's happening. So there's a risk, there's a hazard actually. If the desired behavior and the person exhibiting it become aware of the attempt at behavior modification, they haven't always agreed to it. Here's the thing. If they become aware of it, it backfires in a big way where not only does the behavior continue, but it can actually get worse, and you end up with a situation where the person becomes extremely angry about it because of the trespass, because of the obvious attempt at manipulation over their objection, especially in the cases where it's not necessarily a harmful behavior and someone decided that it was unsavory or whatever, So you have to be real careful with psychology and understand its limitations. Understand that if a person knows about the attempt at modifying their behavior, it can have a disastrous effect. And like I said, in conclusion, these tactics, these techniques, many times rely entirely on the person's ignorance, and that should be a clue. It should be a clue as to whether or not you should even do this stuff many times, because if a person isn't wanting to change, if they aren't open to it, and if they're not causing direct harm to themselves or other people by way of this behavior, whatever it is, mind your business, geez. But it turns out there are whole departments and agencies and facilities filled with college graduates who get paid to snoop around, finding people whose behavior could be improved, so to speak, and then they try to modify it with or without the person's knowledge. It happens, and there's plenty of evidence. Last thing I want to say is you've heard of, this is connected, the same idea in romance where a person might try to trigger a response in the other person amounting to increased attraction. That is, to make someone attracted to you by playing hard to get. You've heard this one. What's the verb here? Playing hard to get. Playing is the verb, right? To play is an action word. The doing word is playing. What does playing mean in this case? In this case, it means acting. Acting as if. Putting on a facade, something that isn't, it's artificial. We're back to the artificial stimulus and a behavioral modification. That's exactly what it is. Playing hard to get works sometimes until the person finds out about it, right? Oh, wait a minute. This person's just manipulating me. Wait a minute. This person's just being mean and selfish. Wait a minute. They're not actually superior. They're not actually, someone with high standards. Well, that was the impression I got. Turns out they were just playing hard to get. Well, it can backfire. That's the point. Final point. When it backfires catastrophically. So it's a gamble. It really is. Behavior modification is a gamble. And many, many times, for the last time, it depends on people's ignorance. It leverages people's ignorance against them, which should tell you all you need to know, really. Have a great day and reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.